Aloha, my friends, and welcome to Months of Copilot. And here we want to show you different copilots and explain you how all the copilot works. So my name is Bülent Altinsoy. I'm working at Avanade since over a decade, and I'm the Global Power Platform Learning Lead there. I'm also an MCT since 2021, and I'm happy to be here and I can show you my topic of today, which is how to make your chatbot translation ready in Copilot Studio. So we will learn about the translation feature, and then I think this will be very interesting for you. So the first thing first, so we did the introduction, which I just quickly did about me and about all the topic. Then the second topic is how we did this, how we did with this previously. In that case, I will show you when Copilot Studio had the previous name Power Virtual Agent, that translations were a real pain, especially wanted to use multi-languages there. The third topic is about the language feature itself in Copilot Studio. I want to show you where you can find that, especially after the new UI refresh after the MS Build 2024 in May. And also want to show you that sometimes you need low code to handle translations as well. So for some specific reasons, which we also deep dive into it. Last but not least, there's also something which is called generative AI or generative answers or actions or whatever. So in that case, I want to show you how you can also handle this as well. And in this case, this is also important for us to understand how we can use that feature as well. At the end, I want to give you a summary what we have just learned all about. So in that case, that's all what I have on PowerPoint. I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint. I'm more a fan of demonstrations. So we will always return back to that PowerPoint. And in that case, we start with the topic, how did we do it previously? So in that case, let me just open an example here. And let me also make it a little bit bigger, especially I'm an old guy. I just need bigger screens now if I don't use glasses. So in that case, this is a live page where we have the traditional PVA just started. So in that case, if you click here on the bottom on report a problem, if you click on this one, then you see let's say the older version of a chatbot. I mean, it's also can be used with Copilot Studio as well, but it's been built like the old one, like with a normal topic and based on that. And this is how you did that previously. So if you needed multi-language there, you just have started a topic and just asked previously who's using this, do you want to have that in English or do you want to have that in Spanish? So obviously I will now select English because then I can understand my Spanish is really not existing. So if there would be different other language like Turkish, for example, or German, that would be much easier for me. In that case, I think English was always more okay. So let me just click on this button and then you can just use one of that kind of options. So if you have any kind of a check case status, you can just click on this. You can see the chatbot just provides you buttons, or you can just also use the text. So you can just type in help in that case or type in stop. So in that case, what I want to report a problem in that case. And based on that, I'm just getting a huge list of the items I can just select. You see a real huge list of that. Information, form, city private construction, urgent environmental, garbage, graffiti. Let's say graffiti is a problem now. So if you look at this, then you can say select graffiti, and you see much more in question on that, etc., etc. So now what just happened, but that can also something to do with my browser. It just has restarted new. And now the thing is that, that is the older version, PVA. That means also hasn't now more or less memorized that I have used English in that case. So I'm starting again. So if I just use it with Spanish in that case, you see now everything now in Spanish. So if I want to report it in un problema, wow, hopefully that's really good pronunciation. Please don't send me any complaints. That's just kidding. In that case, you see then everything else. Graffiti is something I can just read. So that's why I have just selected it before. You see, everything is planned here. No, just kidding. Graffiti. And here we go, a huge list. But I'm happy that it's just not restart, but maybe I've just also did something with my mouse wrong. It's very late now when we record the sessions, but we all have fun during this time. That's the most important one. So this is how we do this. So if you don't restart this one here, so in that case, so how can you just come back and just change it back to English? So it has restarted, then you have the option to choose again. So, but if you just, say alto, for example, I think, let's see. Okay, didn't have work. So you see my Spanish is not really good. In that case, I have no idea what I just did. But what I want to say is the changing and the switching between the languages in that case, a problem, Once you just have selected that and has memorized that language, usually you just can't come back. Even, we have found a use case of when you just restart, then somehow it just works. But anyhow, this is how we just did that previously. And obviously, this is a pain because languages, multi-languages is a requirement, to Microsoft since a longer time, since I work with PVAs, with Power Virtual Agents, which has been established since 2019. And Microsoft knew that, and they just came up with Copilot Studio a couple months ago, where they have finally solved that issue, and it's a great one. So in that case, let me just return back to our slides and return back. So this is how we did it previously. So now we are now with a feature language feature in Copilot Studio. So now I explain to you how this feature is now working in Copilot Studio. So in that case, I can close this window here because I don't need this anymore. And this is a complete different topic. I can also show that one day, but another topic. And in that case, what we do have is this is a new brand UI for Copilot Studio, which is really great. Let me just make this big. Oh, it's already big. That's great. So what is important for you just to know about the new UI is that you have it more or less like everywhere in the Power Platform. So you do have describe your Copilot to create it here. So you can now start and type something in how you want to create your Copilot, and that would also work very well. But what we want to do is we want to start it now simple, how it is without this one. But you will still see you can use still Copilot more or less everywhere to let it create it. So in that case, in that menu, I'm just click now here on the left side on create. And I say, I just want to have a new Copilot in here that I want to create. What is new now with Copilot in that case is there is some kind of a conversational part of that, how you can create it. And this is really cool. So it just asks you, I'm here to build your custom Copilot. So how can I assist you? So what do you want to include? If you don't want to go with that steps, that's also okay. You can skip it here, but you can also go by the flow. It just asks you some intelligent questions, and based on that, your Copilot can be built up. This is something which is not a topic of today. We just come to an immediate result, and I just do this by clicking on skip to configure. So if you just do this, I just call my chatbot languages. You can just choose another icon in that case. You can change the icon if you want. Then, but you just have to go by your drive. If you have it, there's something stored. So I can just go with that at the moment. I'm absolutely okay with that. You can give a description to your Copilot. You can even now start with a instruction for your Copilot. So especially if you create a new topic and you want that this has been built more or less than automatically by Copilot, you can give also some instructions like, the tone shall be professional or the tone shall be funny and more of that kind of thing. You can just enter to give a proper instructions. What is new? And this is something I just also want to let you know about. This is knowledge. This is new, has been introduced with MS Build last week. This is where you have, more or less your sources organized. It's called knowledge source, and this can be a website, a public website. This can be a file, uploaded document, a Word file, for example. This can be a SharePoint or OneDrive. And what's new now, it can also be Dataverse, and it can also be, and this is coming soon, it's not even now in preview for us to test, Microsoft Fabric, which will be interesting that you can select these as a source, or you use one of the connectors to get connected to any third-party application like SAP or ServiceNow or Salesforce or whatever is your preferred tool you want to get connect and get the knowledge there out of it. So in that case, I'm just clicking now on create. I'm happy with that so far. If you click on the three dots, you can have some kind of edit advanced settings. So in that case, you can just select your solution. If you're familiar with the solution concept, then you can select one of the Copilot Studio in that case, which I've just created with a schema name and etc. etc. You can even create a classic bot in that case. So then you have some features like omnichannel there for customer service, which is currently not integrated into this one. Microsoft will integrate them, I think, later with other features as well. So if I save this one, then I'm happy. So for any case, if you have no idea what is the concept of a solution and so on, so this is something, if you have been familiar with Dataverse, then most of the time you will just know this, but if not, then I will show that to you as well. So in that case, what I'm just doing, I'm just opening now Power Apps. So the window which was previously opened was with the application there, which has nothing to do with our environment or our solutions. So then there is something which is called solutions. And if you just click in here, you see already I do have a solution for Copilot Studio and for other things as well, which currently is not that interesting. And here in that case, I want to save now my languages. The reason why I'm just using this is otherwise it would be then stored in the so-called preferred solution in that case. And this is something which I just want to avoid at the moment. So solutioning concept is cool, is not dramatically necessary or mandatory for that case, but if you're getting familiar with solutions, you will see what kind of advantages you would use with that. So I'm more or less finished. I just click now on the create button. And what was previously a very cute robot just dancing and smiling all the time, it's now I would say, a little bit boring Copilot logo sign, Copilot Studio logo sign there. But what's important for us is it's been created very fast. That's the most important thing, what we need to know. And you see now that we do have now languages here as a topic. So this is now your overall screen, and this is the first huge change that you can see with from the switch from the legacy UI to the new refreshed UI. So you see, first of all, custom copilots and all your first-party copilots on one view. You can switch between them easily. So I had done in the previous sessions, build your first chatbot, enhance your Copilot Studio bot, etc., etc. So now you do have your languages. So you do have also Copilot for Microsoft 365. I can just click on this, and then you can see that I can also configure this as well. The other Copilots currently are not that interesting. Copilot for Sales, by the way, I haven't installed that. It's there. If you click on this, then you will get just a very annoying message like this is not supported in your current environment. What is important? Very important. If you work the first time with Copilot Studio, just be sure that you're just using your right environment, which has also, in that case, a support, for Dataverse in that case for me. So with the Aloha environment, only that you just be aware about that. So what's also new with the new UI refresh is that your Copilot is now on the right side. So it's now here. Instead, it was previously here. So this is a second huge change, and the third huge change is that now here on the top, you see now every items which have been now here on the menu side. It's now there, and that's all what you need to know. Some of the items you can just find among settings here. And among settings, you also find then languages, which is the important part for us. So if you click now on languages, so I have installed everything in English, obviously. So in that case, if I want to add more languages, I'm just going in here and I click on this. And you see several languages there. Not, over 40, 50, 60 languages where Microsoft is usually doing some advertisement on. That's, I would say, around 20 or over 20 languages. I haven't counted that, so I will not start counting that with that, obviously. But you will never guess, I'm a German, which language I would then select. Right. I will definitely choose German in that case. So let me click on this, and then I just add this language, and boom, here we are. That language is now added. Here we go. So now the thing is set. If I go back to my, I just close the settings here. It's also new for me, with all the settings. I just need to, accidentally go to the left side, because previously everything was there on the left side. Now I have just adjust myself to go to the top to do all that kind of things. So now you do have now your languages. So this is a typical bot topic, which starts if you just click on topics. Then you will see on systems, you have your conversation start. If I click on this, it automatically opens this area. I'm sorry. And then you see exactly the same text here, like here as well. Hi, I'm languages, a virtual assistant. Just you will be aware, etc., blah blah. So that's the same text like here. If I change that text here, then obviously this will be also changed as well. What's interesting for you is you do have a variable here. It's called bot name. I called my bot languages. That's why you see also languages here as well. So now how can I change the language now? Very good question. So I help you with that. So if you just click on the three dots, then you can change here now the language very easily to German. So let's see how that works. Now I've changed, but either you're very good now in German and you can read this one, or this language hasn't changed. It's still in English. So even you just now see everything else now in German. So for example, this is now in German, and previously in the older UI, all the other settings have been also been German as well. So this, for example, was also in German. Now it's in English, everything. Good, except this one. Jetzt means now, and believe me when I say it's German, you have now to trust me in that case. Good. What is important for you just to know is the following. Now, I want to change this one. How can I change this? And here's now my first tip for you. It's very important. It tells you in the beginning you have switched to a non-primary language. Topics will be read-only until you switch to the primary language. So what you can do is you can add now that node a lot of items, a lot of nodes. But the problem with that is you will not be able to save that until you switch that back. So I've changed something and I found out I can't save it. I can't tell you. I just make the successful dance afterwards. Not really. Good. I've just changed this one. And now what you need is the following. We need somehow to get that language file, which is behind. So how can I do this? Obviously, we're going back where we just have set up the language, right? So we're going back to settings. And then you just go to languages. So remember, languages. If I click now on upload, and it's a little bit unlucky that you're using this one because I want to download first before I can upload first, but you have to click on this button. So it just tells you in 3 steps. First, to update your localization, you download your existing one. So this can be a JSON file, that can be a resx file. So what is the difference? So the JSON file is, if you're familiar with the JSON file, then you just go with that. The resx file is more an XML structure. Really depends. It's really not a problem what you choose, but if it's come to a situation where you're just using quotes, single quotes, double quotes, and all that kind of things, the resx is a better way to choose. But in that case, what I want to do, I will just choose the JSON file because I'm used more to work with JSON, and that's why I'm just downloading this one. Now this has been downloaded. I'm just now opening this one up, and what I just do is I just open now my Visual Studio Code with that. So this is my Visual Studio Code, and you see now everything has been here translated or it's not translated, it's everything is in English. So now we're just searching for the very first beginning, and in that case, let me just find this one and go back. And here we go. Hello, I'm languages, I'm a virtual assistant. So this is a system bot. You can also search for the system bot, so bot.name in that case. So let me just go back to my Visual Studio and search for it. Bot.name. There we go. If you can find it there, you can also use this one here. Here we go. Hello, I'm SystemBot, a virtual assistant, so just so you're aware. Okay, that seems like exactly the one which I want to translate in that case. So I do have now GitHub Copilot chat here in that case. So I'm very nifty, and I can just, change this one. You see here that this one, and I can just now ask Copilot to do some magic. And if I say, translate this line into German, so you will see now what happens. So now it had now translated this one. It has even translated the next line, which wasn't intended by me, but I'm okay with that. So what I need to do obviously is I need to check first if this is the correct German version. So now assume everything has been translated correctly. It just asks you to accept the discard in that case. I'm accepting this one. And now this has been translated. So what is important is I need to save this one here. And I need to upload now the following one. So I'm done now with this part in that case. So this is the easy way how you can translate it easy. If that saves you some time, so, oh, we don't need the translation guy anymore in our project. So boom, kick it out. I wouldn't wait with that a little bit. So maybe this guy still could be needed. But what we just want to do for tonight is obviously we want now to get this translation into the system. So in that case, let me just click on settings and click on languages. And now that wording upload is exactly the one which is applicable for this. So we want to upload now something. This is my localization. And just ask me, really, do you want to really localize this one? So if you have done any kind of error message, then the localization will be successful. Good. Successfully uploaded in that case. And let us return back. So this is still our sentence we just want to go. In that case, what we want to do is the following. I'm just switching now back to German in that case. And look at this. This has been now fully translated like we wanted. So, hallo, ich bin Languages, ein virtueller Assistent, nur damit Sie es wissen, verwende ich manchmal KI and so on. It's fantastic. It's been translated. But has been now everything translated? No. There's still one word in English. This hasn't been translated. Why? The reason for this is bot.name. This is a variable. And you can't translate a variable with a translation file. So let me just go back to my studio again. So this is the system bot. It's a variable. You can't translate now a variable. So how can I solve this one? And to do this, we're just landing now in our next chapter. And our next chapter in that case is how to handle translations with low code. So you need code for this in that case. So in that case, let's do this. So let me just return back to my application. And what we want to do in that case is, obviously, we want to go in here and want to get this one translated, obviously. So how can we do this? In that case, I just need to start and add now something into the node. So, and to do this, I want to set now a variable. Good. So the variable I want to set is, there is nothing there. I can now create now a new variable, which I name now, if I click on this one. Oh, and this is, where it comes. I can't be successful because the thing I just told to you, but it's fantastic how I ignore my own advices. Remember, switch to the primary language, otherwise you will not be successful. So lucky for me, I haven't gone so far, so it's not really that I just worked, kind of 2 hours and then like, oh, no. In that case, set a variable. So here we go. Now, click again on create new. Now we are a little bit more familiar with that one. So if I now click on a variable, now something appears which just didn't appear. So I just want to give now the thing a better name. So you can just do something like variable languages, for example. or language. Really, it's absolutely okay how you just want to name that, or you just call it something like that. Language. So currently, it doesn't know if this is what kind of type this is because I haven't defined it yet. So the definition of that doesn't happen here. The definition will happen when I just, determine the value there. So what you all just need to know is the usage. So do I want to use it only in my topic or do I want to use it on a global level? So everywhere. In that case, I leave it now on topic. So it's all good because that's what I want to achieve. And in that case, I just need to add now a value. So if I click on this one, and if you just go on the system, you will find now system variables here. And remember the one which we just had, system board. But that's not the one which we're searching for. We're searching now for the language kernel which have been chosen. So if you chose, for example, this bot here, in that case, it's in English, but you can anytime switch it back to German. So we want to learn about the current user language which has been used. And you can just do this by clicking here, system, and you just, oh, I have just accidentally searched this one. So now click on user. You see user display name, email, first name, ID, and here you go, language. So once you just select language, it's a choice. It's a choice because usually one language is selected. You can't select multiple choices in that case. It automatically turns off this variable into a choice as well, which is absolutely okay. So in that case, we are saving that variable here. So why do we need this one? Unfortunately, and this is the kind of limitation of PowerFX in that application. But PowerFX is still kind of preview in Copilot Studio. You can't select that variable directly. So you can't select user language directly in PowerFX, unfortunately. That's why you have just to go this kind of a workaround. Good. So now, sorry. We are here now, and we have now selected this one. So what is now the next topic we just want to go and we just want to achieve? So in that case, again, I will set now a variable. And I will tell you why I'm just doing this. I'm just clicking now and click note and set now a variable again. This time, what I want to do is this variable will be a JSON. And I've already prepared a JSON in that case. So I just want to put this one in here. And unfortunately, we can't see that quite good. That's why what I want to do is also following. I'm just, taking a plain text editor and just paste it there because I just have it in here. So what I want to achieve, because here it's a little bit more better readable as when I just put it in here. So I do have now a JSON and I have just called this JSON this pretty simple name, and I do have it defined with the language either in English or the value is the language bot. And I've just defined it for German as well. So if it's German, then you should definitely use the German term of that. It's called Sprachenbot. So in that case, it is languages, but anyhow, we can just use it like this. It's absolutely okay in that case. So how we want to use it. So this is the one which I just want to use. I'm just, returning that back. And the first thing what I want to do is I do have now select a variable. I don't need necessarily to select something in here. I'm just now adding something here. So let's see what happens. And that's the reason why I wanted to show you that in some kind of a notepad. So now, here we go. So now, in that case, I'm just going in here. So what you see, the new variable which I just have created, but I definitely need now a new one here as well. So, and now what I want to do is the following. I just want to give that thing a better naming. In that case, a variable JSON. So now this is also then easy for me to understand how this works. So I do have now a JSON is exactly this one which I just have defined. Okay, good. Now, I need to parse that JSON because this is important. And there is a feature if you just go on Node and click on parse value that you come to this one. So how does this parse value now works in that case? So in that case, what I want to select as the first value is obviously this JSON which I have just created. So as you can see, this is a string. It has been defined as a string. But we don't want to have it as a string only. So in that case, what you can also do is, if you click on this, you can define, shall it be a string, boolean, number, record, table, or you click and let Copilot Studio decide on based on sample data. If I click on this, then this appears. If I just click on this one, I'm just entering exactly what I had previously there. So let me just do this. Here we go. So this is exactly the same what I have just did before. So if I click now on OK, then I can now select this one and I just create a new variable and I want to say this is in this case called variable parsed JSON. It automatically identifies this is now a record because previously I had a string. A string is, not really a parsed value. With the record now it's really parsed. That means now I do have, I can just look at the name and then on the language, which language it is, and based on that I can get out the value. This is an important part. So what I want to do is now the following. I just need now to replace in that message this one here, because this one at the moment is a bot. So if I go in here, so what I'm just doing is I just click on this one to replace this one. So here we go. Good. Now, what I want to achieve is now I need the formula now. In that case, the formula would just tells me, so what is the currently selected language? So I can just easily do this by using power effects. Click on this one, you get this one. Unfortunately, sometimes you do have a button how you can increase the window a little bit. In that case, you don't have it. Super annoying. But in that case, this is a formula which I just want to add in. So let me just replace this one and put that into my notepad so it's a little bit easier to read. So I'm using an if. I would love to use a switch, but I haven't managed that to get that working. So in that case, it's an if. So I'm just checking now the topic language in that case. So the topic language in that case is not correct because I have just choose something else. So the variables, I just need to put every time now a variable to adjust my code here in that case so we don't run into some kind of an issue. So it just checks now if now is it's English, yes or no. So remember, we have just saved that previously. And if it's English, then fantastic. Then it shall use in that index the first one. So the first one was in English, or you just used it in the index the second one. So that might not be the most smartest PDF PowerFX code you've seen. I'm pretty sure there are much smarter ways just to do that, but for our case, it's absolutely okay. Sufficient in that case. So what I want to do is I'm just adding now this code here and put it in here. So if something is wrong, he will tell you that. Then you just don't get that green check mark. You will get something in red. And red means mostly you did something wrong. But lucky for me, I just have more or less the code right. That's why it seems to work. So the output will be in string. If everything is fine, I'm just clicking now on OK. And now we should be ready in that case. We should be ready that this can now work now. Good. Let me save this one because I think I haven't saved it so far. In that case, what's now happening is I do have now saved everything and now change that now to the German version. Good. Now I change it there, but still, it doesn't work. So what could be the root cause that it doesn't work? The root cause that it doesn't work is the language. So we have translated that in English, and that's good and fine, but the translation language, which we just have localized, it still have the German version and it still saves that system bot thing there. It hasn't our code there. So in that case, what we need to do is the following. First of all, we need to get our code out of that. And it's great that we have a code editor there. And you just open that code editor by this. And now you see here, it's in German. That's why it will not work out, because it still has the system bot name. And we can't change it from here. We need to go back to our localization file and change it from there. Okay, I'm switching back to English. Now I'm just going back to my, and you see, instead of in English, instead of the system bot, I do have now a complete translation there. So what I need to do is, I need now to copy this part here. And I need to replace this one in the system. Okay, I had it already there, so no necessary to need. So if you have just some kind of loss, now you just know how you get over the Z. That's really great. Good. Anyhow, in that case, what is important for you to know is you just need to now go back to your language file, because we haven't really done any kind of language, so there's no need just to download again. We already have this. I'm just going back to my Studio. So if I now place this one here exactly, so then you will see what will happen. So you will get some rest asterisks with this. So you can solve this. You can solve this by using all that slashes and all this kind of thing. So if you're familiar with that, then maybe that's not a problem. But this is a good way that we're also looking how you can use the resx. It's a perfect example. So in that case, let me just close this one. And we don't save this one. We just go away with that for a moment. And we just go back to our settings and to our languages and manage this one here. It's great. It just is not uploaded anymore. It's now managed. That's cool. And you click now on the resx file. If I click on this, my Mac just don't know what to do with that. That's not a problem. I just go in here, right click and open this one. And okay, this is a little bit more annoying. I'm just going the other way around. Just open it up from here. Open. And I just want to have now that resx file. So this is an XML file. And if you want to work with an XML file, here in that case, it's much more with advantage. And you will see how. So I'm just still searching for a system bot. It's here. I want to replace this kind of code. Here we go. And now in your XML file, it's not a problem that you have now double quotes here in that case. Not really a problem. Now you can save this one. And go away with a fancy animation and just browse and select this one. And upload this one. Now this has been updated. Okay, cool. Now let's go back and reload again. And I'm just switching back now to German again. So now what happens is it just checks, oh, okay, it's a German language. That's why he already translated this part of the bot with Sprachenbot. And if you change back to English, it just tells you not only I'm languages, which is usually the wording here, it just automatically also put that I'm language bot a virtual assistant. I just have forgotten how to comma, so if you are very, very strict with grammar, then don't be that mad. It's really that late when I'm just recording that session. But anyhow, that shows you how it works. And, it sometimes happens, that if you're connecting, for example, with Power Automate to other systems and you're just getting English words, translated there, if you have that kind of list defined here in that variable, this can be very useful in that case. Sometimes you have, for example, a status and, an order has been shipped or maybe an order has been purchased or whatever kind of status there. And if you're using that kind of things, obviously it is very helpful if you're using that kind of low-code magic to make that kind of translation. Also, they're very happy. You have seen it's pretty simple, pretty easy just to do. You have just only to be familiar a little bit with JSON and how you can pass a value there, pass a JSON there. Once you just manage that, everything on doors is open for you. Then you will become a fantastic Copilot Studio Master. So now coming back to our slides, this is how you can handle that with low code. And the last thing is, I just want to now use generative AI. So everything what we have just shown to you is deterministic. That means I just know how I can achieve that, and at the end, it will every time the result will come out which I just have foreseen. But with generative AI, that's not the case. But it can help you so much in terms of translations. So let me just jump back to the application, and in that case, let me just go to my advanced Copilot Studio bots because I just had put something now there. So remember knowledges, and if the knowledge does not appear, you can now click an existing knowledge here in that case, and it should now add the one which is missing. Here we go. So you have it with two sides in that case, whatever reason. So you have Microsoft, and you have Learn Microsoft in that case. Good. We can work with both in that case. What I want to achieve now is the following. I'm just now going to my topics. And I have just called my topics very romantically untitled because I've just have forgotten to give any kind of things. And I'm just looking now for a key. This is in that case of a trigger. In this case, it is just a test. So let me just call test. By the way, a tip. If you just go in here and say track between your topics, it automatically opens up then that one where you are. So if I'm just going away from here, I just click on topics and say the greeting ones are here. And I've just started now my Copilot test and I just click on test. It automatically now jumps into that topic here. And now just ask me, so what is your request? And I'm just telling my request is that I want to learn more about the exam PL200. So this is the Power Platform Functional Consultant exam. So now it just sends now here to generative answers with that request, and we should get now a result any second. And if you don't get a result, you will hear that once we have just seen if you get a result, yes or no. We will not get any result in that case. I just put an end topic there. I'm sorry. I haven't seen that. Let me try again. So I copy this one. I trigger with test. And okay. I want to learn about the exam PL200 For whatever reason, in the previous demo, I have just put that end of topic everywhere. Good. So now what I can see is, PL200 exam is part of the, it's part of the current build edition, which by the way is not true. The PL200 is not part of the build edition learn challenge. You have, AI there and Copilot Studio and so on. And PL200 is usually not part of that, but let me click on that link. I'm just very curious about that. So these are the challenges. Ooh, that's really big. Okay, here we go. We have Azure AD, Fabric, this one, this one, this one. I mean, if you just look at the Microsoft Copilot Studio, part of that, refers to Power Apps and all that. This is part of the PL200, but whew, okay. Tricky, I would say. Very tricky. Anyhow, you shall not every time believe. You should say in that case, no, that's not true what you're just answering me, because we still need to give Copilot or Generative AI the answers. If it's good, then say yes, thumbs up. And if no, then thumbs down in that case. So you can just change your wording a bit, test again. Can you tell me in a funny way better? Pretend to be a comedian. Give me all information about PL 900 or 200 in over 300 words. Okay, let's see and check. Good. This is a known issue at the moment. This answer was filtered by the AI system. That is not working. So currently we are out of build and knowledge sources currently are not working expected. So that's why we're just getting kind of things. So maybe you would just say, okay, why did I get then an answer here in that case? So why was it successful? So the reason for this is because if you just go to your generative answers and you just go on properties and you hope that it just opened this one up, which currently he doesn't do. Okay, let me see. Here we go. Now, it just goes now on selected, but it hasn't been selected there. So if you just say not only search on a selected one, let me save this one and try it again. So you see, you need to adjust a little bit. So in that case, test my Copilot and just ask this question again. So be sure that we are triggering the right one. So still, it doesn't work. So currently it's a little bit rusty with the knowledge sources. Shall not be a problem. The reason why I wanted to show that to you here in that case is that you can select either only some sorts if you don't do this. So usually you do have allowed the AI to use its own knowledge. So this has been the case if you have just set that earlier in generative AI. So I'll leave at the moment and go to generative AI, and if this has been set in here, then this would work in that case. So if you, for example, just do this in the very first beginning and do this, then you can just have some kind of a fallback. So currently that feature, unfortunately, if I would have shown that 1 week ago, it would work. Doesn't work that good with knowledge at the moment. But what was the initial idea? The initial idea was in that case that if I'm just getting back an answer, that you can just switch and then it just can be also shown in German as well. So let me just do a trick maybe. Let me just go back to my new untitled one and go back to the properties. And let me say I'm just selecting both. Save this one. And what I want to achieve as well is now refresh. And if you say now, I'm just returning and tell that this is now, I haven't said anything in Germany in that case, okay? If I would now ask something in German now, kannst du mir etwas über PL200 als Examen sagen? So I've just asked now the question which I have just asked previously. Now, can you tell me something about the PL200 as an exam? So what I want to achieve with that is now this is the fallback in that case where he just landed, and then it just tells me now in that case something in German. So I have started in English, I have asked something in German, and Copilot automatically has turned that into German in that case. So if I go back to that source, then I'm just landing in funny, I'm just landing in the English version of that, but just translate me more or less everything in here, which is great. And at the end, just tells me, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to help. You already helped me. Come on. Okay, anyhow, this is how you can make, generative AI make use. It has fantastic translation capabilities there as well. Once we set knowledge sources, hopefully in upcoming days will work better. And I think we will have also more fun, but we're just recording for the Copilot of months already this video. So I think you have understood the base concept. So next time, maybe we'll do the Copilot of month or months of Copilot thing maybe 1 month later. So we have enough, distance to build. So hopefully then everything is working. But anyhow, let me just return back to our PowerPoint and at the end to the summary. So what did we have learned? So we have learned how we have did this previously with Power Virtual Agent and also found out it's not easy that we can switch back to another language that easily. And, multiple languages were never part of that process. So it could have become a part of the process if you would have used, the Azure services, the framework in the background to use multiple languages. But we're happy that this has been resolved in Copilot Studio with a feature which is called language. So you can select several languages there, and you can switch easily in your taskbot to another language there. You have also seen that you can use PowerFacts with low code, so to handle translations, because some keywordings, some variables are not going to be translated. So you can use this. Another use case which I also have told you, is if you're using Power Automate and you're just connecting with connectors to another system and just getting values back, obviously then you will have a problem there because it's in English. So you use low code in that case with that little nice JSON we have just passed there, and then you can just catch and translate that very easily. So there are also other ways how you can just do this. You can make it more smart. You can use, for example, Dataverse as a data, and you just, coming back from Power Automate, you can use as a data source, and you just select and send exactly in your Power Automate the right word. That's also possible as well. But we wanted to give you a way of how you can just do this in Copilot Studio with Power Effects. Last but not least, a little demo about how generative AI works, and you see, that's the easiest one. You just type something in German or in another language, it just returns it that back in that language. But you never know what kind of information you get back. Here in the first items in chapter 3 and chapter 4, you get control values back, control. Here in chapter 5, you never know what you will get back. All right, so in that case, let me just make that screen a little bit bigger. So thank you very much for attending that session. Please subscribe now to the Copilot Connection. It's a fantastic podcast, and if you listen to that, you will hear a lot of cool stuff there. There's also a website which is called the copilotconnection.com, and there's even, in LinkedIn something there, and even there's a YouTube channel as well. In that case, thank you very much, and hope this video was informative for you and helpful, and hopefully we see each other again in the future. In that case, good night.